I think that Islam is spreading, and I think that, it has a lot of benefits in a lot of ways and things like that. I'm not Muslim, but I think that Islam and things like that are being allowed to spread because it's part of the globalist push. Like they're flooding the fucking borders with certain types of people, and then I don't know what they'll do later. Like once they decide that their way of living, like the globalist sort of ideas and the euro, they don't really run together. Like they'll eventually collide. I've seen a lot of guys jump on YouTube and guys will be talking about like labor is going to be, like guys doing manual labor will be a thing in the future. As though mass migration isn't going on. I'm in Poland and there's fucking laborers arriving here every day that will work for 10% of the price that you will. And if you're in the States, you got laborers arriving at scale that will work for 1% of the money that you'll work for. And they might not be as good as you, but there's hire 10 of them. So that's the concept, and they don't need all of the benefits that you'll get, and they're used to working under crappy conditions. Globalism and opening the borders is brilliant for companies, of course, because it crushes the price of the fucking average wagey. Like it floods the market with labor. Here, they open the borders for Ukrainians, and I understand that because of the war and things like that. But if you're working in a coffee shop and you're just working like a general job like coffee shop, restaurant, waiter, Uber, taxi driver, these like jobs that you still need some skill, but they're like not highly skilled jobs. Even like coffee shop, bar, probably security to a degree. You need, of course, some skill, but you don't need like a big education or a ton of skill. It doesn't take a lot of people a long time to learn that. And especially, and then other labor jobs like carrying tiles or like carpets and doing manual labor, like digging ditches. It doesn't need a lot of shit to learn to do that. And then they opened the border up, and obviously people wanted to fucking work. Like people have arrived here with nothing. So it's driven down the cost of labor because guys who run businesses are like, there's now an influx of fucking workers who need jobs today. So I can cut their wage fucking in half. Like I can, and might be able to get around the minimum wage as well because I can get them to work longer and under shitter conditions. I can push them and pressure them to stay back and do more shit than they're like. I can get a guy, hire him for an assistant, and then he used to work in fucking Kiev as a developer or something, and I can give him a shit kicker job, but also make him do development work. So that's how they fuck people over. That's how immigration and things like that generally crushes the more unskilled person. So when you have people jump on and talk about like labor and, guys if they have a trade that's like a weak trade or something that's easy to learn, then they think that like all of that labor price, all of that will crash. Like that whole economy will fall. Like the cost of the wages will drop. The conditions will drop because people are willing to do all of that crap without healthcare and all of that stuff. Like they're used to working for shit money and in shit conditions and in dangerous conditions. So all that happens, yes, the development and things like that will be a lower standard and the people will suffer. But the corporations and that don't really care because they have insurance. Like no one's going to really fucking give a shit what you say if you look like a pussy, like a little bitch. Like only that shit only works with other little bitches. When people like think that, just because they have a bit of money or something that like that means shit. That only means shit to brokies, but then other people fucking terrorize them. Guys like living in the first world that are fucking shit scared of minorities because a lot of the like first worlders are fucking pussies. And then these guys come over who have been in war zones and like shitholes and pretty much just almost like make them their complete bitch. And then they shit themselves and are starting to live in fear. A lot of that is just because the guys in the first world, just a lot of fucking soft. Like they let themselves become completely soft. So then when other people come in who have lived in a harder environment, physically, they get steamrolled, like they get fucked over. And then they sit there and cry about it online. That's dumb. Like obviously that's going to become more of a thing. So you need to be able to handle yourself physically. I mean, you need to be able to handle yourself with firearms and shit. Like that's personal security is going to be a massive thing in the future. Like, do you really think that the police and shit are going to be having your back if you're poor as well? No. A lot of the shit the police is defunded. They're pushing for chaos. Like bringing in mass plebs. Like, do you really think that there's not going to be insane amounts of violence in the future? Pretty fucking obvious, right? Eventually it'll be like fucking Gotham City, and then they'll crank out some massive But first there needs to be anarchy, obviously. Anarchy comes first, which you have to survive. You don't survive it by being some fucking pussy and hiding in the fucking basement. Like you have to be strong. Like it's pretty obvious. You have to be strong first. You have to be proficient. You have to be good with your firearms. You have to be able to fucking shoot. You have to be able to protect your family. If you have a family, you have to be able to protect your shit. Like it's pretty fucking obvious. I don't know, a lot of you guys like maybe not see the shit that I see. I'm in Poland and it's still fairly civilized there, but I still travel and things like that. I mean, Dubai is very safe, but you go to like London, Paris, around Germany, you know, it's not that safe around there. You know, it's not that safe. You can't just walk around with like a fucking 50K Rolex on without some security or some sort of potential that there will be a problem. And the issue that you guys will find, a lot of the plebs, like the plebs that don't have shit, they're going to end up seeing the middle class and the upper middle class like get destroyed because they almost, the elites and things like that, like they're untouchable. And of course, once you get completely wealthy, you get private security and become fairly untouchable yourself. I mean, that's a thing. But before that, like all the middle class and upper middle class will drown in the mud, with the mud that's all created, like by all of the fucking like plebs and shit kickers and shitheads coming in. Like do you think the shitheads run around and fucking attack the politicians and shit? Like they don't live amongst the shit kickers. They don't run around on like walking around in public with shit to steal. Like they don't walk around in like without private security. It's going to be, yeah, I'm sure a couple will get mass smash and the collateral damage, but it'll be much fewer. Like it'll be the guys in the middle class and the guys who are just above middle class, like the business owners who are like small business owners and things like that. Like they're the ones that will be targeted. Like when there's riots and looting and guys like run around and just steal constantly, the big businesses don't give a fuck because they have very strong insurance policies and things like that. It's only the smaller or middle guys that get crushed because they can't pay the premiums and shit after that. Like they can't just restock all their stuff and things like that. There's delays. It's harder for them to keep stocking up because they have to deal with insurance companies and shit if they keep losing stuff. Like the insurance company can owe you 100K, but they can take like a long time to pay you out and shit like that. Whereas the big businesses often have like 100 fucking little businesses over so many cities, and then obviously the funds keep still pushing money into them, so it doesn't really matter. You know, they'll just, like with the Dow or, you know, S&P, like it's only a few of the companies that make up the majority of that, like the Amazons and shit like that. Like they just mop up more of the supply as the average business owner goes broke. And then, you know, people think that's a good thing for companies to have a monopoly like that, and it's not. So for them, it doesn't matter if they lose a little bit in the short term because they're mopping up, like killing competitors, and in the long term, all of that goes to them. You know, they have a large cash position and shit that the company is worth $1 trillion. You know, it's pretty crazy how big Amazon's gotten. But that's life, you know, you got to be ready for that. You guys have no fucking idea the violence that's coming. You guys have no idea the violence that's coming for election year. Like some of you guys have your head in the sand. You don't even know, you can't even see what's going on. Like, you really can't see that the globalists have opened the borders up in the States. Like you really don't see that it's a nationalist Trump against the globalists. Like you don't understand shit. Like you think America is just fucking America still. Like, you don't realize that. I see guys celebrating that the Argentina guy is fucking like in, as though it's a fucking great thing that a World Economic Forum shill is on the fucking borders of South America, was opening his fucking gates to just flood all these fucking shit kickers through to the country with no documents. People have no fucking idea. It's so fucking dumb. And why do you think they're flooding it with all of these illegals? Because globalists don't want fucking borders? Like, you really think that? Because they know that they change the whole demographic? They don't need the best victory is the victory that you never fire a single shot. That you just change the demographic over a generation or two. Like it's America, to be American will be completely fucking different. It won't be like it was 100 years ago. And then it will just change more and more over time. And you change it from the inside, like you take it over from the fucking inside. Like it's people are dumb. They don't know fuck all. Globalists will win because they control all of the platforms. Like they control all of the fucking tech. Like they sit together and they have all of the best devs. Like we're pushing into a tech future. It's pretty obvious, like where it goes. But people don't know shit. They just sit there and fucking think that, to a point, it doesn't matter who's president. I mean, one just slows it down and the other accelerates it, yes. But it's inevitable what's coming. You can't slow down, the damage is done.